Okay, so jumping into the next hot topic, we are discussing a very, very disturbing image that I'm sure many of you have seen. And if you haven't, please get your ass to whatever is your relevant news source. But it is the images that have come out recently of the Border Patrol and their interactions with Haitian immigrants. Specifically, there are photos of Border Patrol officers on horseback with what appears to be whips as they are trying to control Haitian immigrants crossing the border. So I'm going to go ahead and start us off on this subject. And our specific question is, should anyone be shocked at the racism that Haitian immigrants received at the border? So to the question, should anyone be shocked by the racism? No. But should we be outraged? Absolutely. It's 2021. And though that doesn't completely signify that racism has gone away, we are definitely in a more progressive time today than we were during fucking slavery. And everyone should want to see and advocate for immediate justice. I cannot be any fucking clearer on that. i.e., fire and charge those cops with violation of civil rights. That's at minimum. That's what I want to see at minimum. We cannot allow for this type of behavior to be justified in any way. We just can't. In other words, let me break this down for y'all. I am literally already seeing reports trying to justify this bullshit, that it was not an actual whip being used. It was some other type of police tool for riding the horses, blah, 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 the bullshit, right?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, already that shit is starting to pop up. And that to me is still illogical and unacceptable. Because the fact that there are any justifications of those images is unacceptable considering what they are likened to. I mean, they're likened to images from slave times. You literally see white police officers on horseback, okay, fucking approaching the Haitian immigrants like they're cattle or something. And when you consider the continued injustices that Black people as a whole, as a race, face in this country, this shit is plain and simple unacceptable. Enough is enough. So what do we do about it? Because you all know me. The last thing I'm going to do is sit around and just complain and not come up with a suggestion or speak on how I plan to stand for what's right and what we expect, fucking justice. So, in my opinion, now more than ever is the time for all us melanated folks to unite and hit them where it fucking hurts, them pockets. Because let's be real, right? Yep. Oppressors have very little in their life that you can really hurt or affect them on. Their pockets, when you start hitting those pockets, that's your most effective weapon. It's that simple. And when we're talking about the Haitians, I mean, look at everything they've been through. Just like us, just like Black people in America, our Haitian brothers and sisters have been the victims of repeated atrocities at the hands of oppressors ever since they freed themselves from the French. I mean, it's a clear and concise pattern of disdain being showed towards them, just as it is for all of us melanated folks here. Example, for those of you all who are not in the know, okay? There was an earthquake in 2010, destroyed Haiti. Red Cross allegedly collected $488 million in donations toward rebuilding homes. Do you want to know how many fucking homes were built? 6 permanent homes.
Just 6?
Just 6.
It just should have just been 0.
Just 6. $488 million. Just 6. Now, you all know me. I'm in finance. I did some math. I said, let me play around with some numbers a little bit.
You did math on that?
If they just took, let's do an estimate on the economics of Haiti and et cetera. We all know it's considered a poorer country and et cetera. Let's say it takes $25,000 to build one substantial resident for a Haitian family, right? Residency. With $488 million, if they had spent that money properly, they could have built 19,520 homes.
That math is good though.
That's great. 6. Now, let's look at this. What does that sound like? What is that equivalent to? To me, that sounds just like the treatment of the victims of Hurricane Katrina. In today's modern society, there's no reason that there were hundreds of thousands of Hurricane Katrina evacuees who could subsequently never return to their homes and received very little aid. Meanwhile, the fucking French Quarter has been rebuilt and is flourishing. So let's get back to my point.
I'm sorry.
The topic at hand. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
I'm sorry. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because the simple fact is how you get all that money and only build 6 homes.
Because they don't give a shit. They don't care. It's you not their just plight.
0 and you could have just taken the heat, but you build 6? Like, come on.
They don't care. They don't care. It's not their plight. And furthermore, the Haitian people are the ones who freed themselves from the French. For what they're trying to, what the oppressors are trying to accomplish, the Haitian people are bad to their cause. They represent how strength looks for the melanated people when we stand together. That's dangerous, right? Let's keep shit a buck. That's dangerous for the oppressors.
Yeah.
So my suggestion would be to hit them where it hurts, those pockets. Imagine if we all came together and say, you know what? Not only are we demanding answers, but until we get them, we ain't spending a pretty fucking penny towards any kind of government related any fucking thing. Because let's be clear, a lot of counties and cities and etc., they do have a lot of their funds from the public, whether it's through taxes or etc. So imagine unifying to support each other and saying, we ain't giving $1 of donation money to any campaign of any leader who ain't down with the cause, who ain't, and you can't just say it. I don't want to hear your bullshit words and your rhetoric. If I don't see you out there with us, if I don't feel you when you speaking on Capitol Hill and etc., if you not for us, you against us type shit. That's where I'm at this fucking point. It's that simple. You're either for us or you're against us. Because it's too much gray area. That's why shit like this is allowed to happen. Too much gray area. It is time to militarize our efforts. Yes, you all heard me say militarize. I'm talking about fuck the rhetoric, fuck the conversations. It's obviously not getting anywhere when you think this kind of bullshit is acceptable in 2021. We're about to send you a clear message that is not. And we don't have to pick up a fucking gun to do it. Black people are one of the largest communities, believe it or not, when it comes to donations. Now, listen to me carefully. Black people are one of the most disenfranchised groups in the US. Yet, simultaneously, we are one of the largest set of faithful supporters when you get us to support you. Now, imagine if we stopped until you were doing what we expected you to do. It's that simple. We got to start militarizing the funds, the financial side of it. We're going to stop spending money. We're going to stop supporting you. You ain't getting $1 from this campaign. We ain't even going to give $1 in the fucking collection plate to your local reverend, Mr. Politician, if you can't do what you need to do to support our cause, which is justice, plain and simple. It's unacceptable. There's no getting around that. No, I'm not shocked by it, but I'm outraged by it, and the shit won't fly. It's that simple. Those are my thoughts on it. So, Email, what say you, my guy?
Thank you so much. So the question is, right, the racism against, the Haitian border. I'm like, I'm gonna say it as simple as you can say it, as any simpler that you can say it, more simpler is that there is the same bullshit that's been going on for years, and nothing. This don't even shock me. It really shouldn't. But what I really want to say is that slavery's still going on. I don't care these little the whole border patrol thing and whatnot. They're answering to somebody, regardless. These people answer to somebody. Whether they choose to do what they want to do, they still answer to somebody. And I mean, I can go on and on about the slave trade, which the Arabs still control and whatnot. But it's ridiculous and sad, they're confusing everyone's mind on the whole situation. And what I mean by the whole situation, we're confused over the simple fact of, what these Haitians are doing are wrong. They're not doing anything wrong. They're trying to upstand an uproar from the tyranny of the US and every other exploiter, the Arabs, who's taken things that don't belong to them or destroy things that they shouldn't be destroying and whatnot. These people have every right to uproar and be mad. You're disturbing their peace. It's sad to say, that certain kids, who are Haitian, live in Haiti, who tell you stories about, what they have to deal with. There's more poor people that walk around Haiti, but yet the US is willing to give them money, but are they really giving them money? Nah, they're just stealing it. They fool everyone, just like Nine Angel said, that the Red Cross took donations in $400 and some odd million.
Mm-hmm. Allegedly $488 million, according to articles.
I'm not going to say the word alleged because y'all motherfuckers know y'all got that money. I don't give a damn about the word alleged. You can censor my ass off YouTube. What you want to do? You can shadow ban my bitch ass off YouTube. You can do whatever you fucking want to do. But I know y'all motherfuckers ain't gonna sit here and play this alleged game with me. It ain't happening, boo boo. It's just not happening. Because for me, I'm gonna just go slap a hoe and whatnot until y'all get your shit right. So y'all can say it correctly out your mouth. Be like, the Red Cross got 400 million some odd dollars off donations. Don't play this alleged game with me. I'm not here to be playing around and everything with y'all games and whatnot, talking about alleged and whatnot. No, nigga, you did what you did and you know what you did and you know what was wrong and whatnot. Then y'all bitch asses only made 6 homes and whatnot. You should have just made 0 and whatnot. You know? Would you think making 6 would just be there and then you take pictures of it and be like, ooh, we got 6 homes over here and whatnot. I don't know. Haiti is a damn big ass nation / country. I don't think 6 houses is going to do with people who are probably over, probably 100,000 or, or 250,000, maybe 300,000 people that living over there. I don't know the number count, but there's a lot of people over there. And I know 6 homes can't fill that many people in it, So I don't know. You think you're trying to be like Houdini and you think like, y'all some type of wizard and be like, poof, there go 6 houses. Now I need to make 1 million people live in that bitch. Poof, and it ain't happening. So, I'm tired of y'all games because that's what y'all do. Y'all play games and whatnot. For me, I don't play games at all. I'm not here to be playing your game and whatnot. That's not what I do. People can play your game. I'm not playing your game, and that's the thing that these assholes need to get and understand, because that is the most sick and vile thing you can do. It's not about you just taking in donations, but you only made 6 homes out of it, 6. Like just make 0 and take the money. No, because if I don't make any home, then basically I'm a fraud and I'm taking
6 is just as fucking bad. Like that's such a slap in the face. Like there's no justification for just 6 homes with $488 million. Like none.
Correct. And I was just about to say that. Correct. And thank you, Nine. And that's where I'm getting at, This is why I don't. And this is the thing about donations that I'm about to spill the bean on. So when you give anybody a donation, right? It's a donation. It basically means you can deduct it from your tax. That basically means it is not considered as income. Listen to the word income, means basically it's inner through you. So it's coming innerly through you. Like, now these donations, right? All right. You can do whatever you want with a donation. So when you donate money to anybody, they can do whatever they want to it. They don't have to do what they have to do with it and whatnot. This is why I don't trust the Red Cross, because it's a non-profit for profit type of business, just like a hospital. I didn't know that was a thing, but it is a thing and whatnot. So the Red Cross is playing motherfuckers, just like many hospitals tend to do the same thing under weird pretenses. That's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother time on a whole nother episode. But all I'm just saying is, it's sad and pathetic that they're still raping a nation out of its good, its people, and making it seem like it's their fault and whatnot, hurricanes are not happening over there. People are playing around with nature to get all this shit happening down there. Those hurricanes or volcano, anything that from nature that you're trying to erupt, you're trying to destroy Haiti and whatnot. That's all y'all trying to do. And it's very sad that it's coming from casualty of people who have done nothing wrong and whatnot. That's what it's been all this time. Nobody has done anything wrong, but then there's always that outside force that tends to do something, but then blame it on them. And that's what I feel like this situation is. because it goes way beyond racism, discrimination. There's greed, there's deceptions, there's lies, it's everything down the list, because only greedy people do greedy things. And the more greedy you are, you want to keep wanting more. And that's what it is, So no matter what they say about this border control, they're doing what they're choosing, what they want to do. Because if they didn't want to do it, they would do the right thing so they can have the right thing for everyone to be good and be safe, and leave that country, correctly. What I mean by correctly, that basically means that they can leave freely without any like shit that they had to deal with from all these bullshit so-called, wouldn't even say laws, but I would say more constraints. That's a better word, constraints. So, and just ending on my thought, this whole border thing is never going to change, because people can say, they're having issues with like border control in Haiti. Then they say they're having the same thing in Afghanistan, same thing in Kuwait, same thing in the Middle East, same thing in different parts of Africa, same thing in South America also too. And the same thing with the same big old country of Mexico, there's always border issues and whatnot, and I tell everybody at the end of the day, these are the lies you keep hiding for destroying countries that you don't need to be messing with. United States of America, basically the government of United States of America, and the Arabs and whatnot, who keeps pushing the slave trade. So I'm gonna just end it like this. We need to stop the BS, let people live how they choose to want to live. Because this shit just needs to stop. Because this is it's silly and like humane. Like really humane. Like I don't know why no one is putting a case against the Red Cross and whatnot. Not because of the donations. It's just the simple fact is that they know what donations are, and they know they don't have to spend any money that they choose not to spend it on if it's a donation. That's the sickening part. Because not just because they know the law. It's the simple fact is they know the law so well, so it benefits them and not helping the right people in need based upon what your so-called rhetoric of like a company is supposed to do and whatnot. And to end my last and final thought, I already know, I don't know who owns the Red Cross, but when they always send aid, it's always them. And basically, and FEMA comes to the US, and basically, when you're interconnected, having your own boys do everything, the money always comes back to you. And that's how it keeps working. So it's not even about border control. It's all about painting a picture to destroy other people's lives so you can keep getting richer and richer. And that shit just needs to stop. I'm going to just end my thoughts on that.
All right. Thank you, sir. Mr. PAT, we're going to throw it to you to wrap us up. What say you, sir?
Lot to say. A lot to say. It's like where do I start? It's crazy when you
can continue on mine, but yeah.
it's just crazy when you think about all this shit. I mean, man. All right. So to answer the question, so we're asking, should anyone be shocked at the racism that Haitian immigrants received at the border? My direct answer to that would be no. No one should be shocked about the racism that Haitian immigrants have received at the border. No one should be shocked. The only people who would be shocked are the people who are acting dumb or quite possibly might really be dumb.
Willfully ignorant.
Or yeah, willfully ignorant. We'll just put it like that. The thing is, we live in a system of white supremacy. I'm gonna just put it plain and simple, flat out. We live in a system of white supremacy. I think, honestly, if we're to go back to whether it's about people who are acting dumb or people who just are dumb, I think it's more so people acting dumb. Because let's be clear here. Everyone knows we live in a system of white supremacy. I don't care who tries to act like they don't know. They know. They're just pretending, or they're, like I said before, they're acting dumb. Speaking of the system of white supremacy, the powers that be have always had a bone to pick with Haiti. Now, people might ask, well, why is that? Well, because of the Haitian Revolution. It's that simple. Africans back then were brave enough and courageous enough to fight their oppressors. They not only fought their oppressors, but they beat their oppressors. They won the physical battle. And let's be real, that has never sat well with the white power structure.
That's true. That's very true.
It has never sat well with them. So because of that, they've always had a bone to pick with the Haitians. Unfortunately, after the revolution, the Haitians had to deal with France, basically ending up in debt and paying for, and I'm putting up my air quotes for this one, but paying for damages. The air quotes around damages. If you know, some of y'all out there catch my drift. Haiti in recent years, and we could say decades, hasn't really fared too well, especially when you look at the earthquake that happened back in 2010, and more recently, the assassination of President Moise. Aside from that, and some internal issues, Haiti's just been taking some serious L's. I hate to put it like that, but they've been taking a lot of L's lately. The Haitians that migrated to the US are really no different than non-Black immigrants who have migrated to the US. The thing is, Black immigrants are treated much worse than non-Black immigrants. Now, should this be a surprise to anyone? No, I don't think it should be. Even though the US might mistreat non-Black immigrants, the fact is some of them are more welcomed because they can pass for white. Now, Biden has already spoken on providing citizenship to millions of undocumented immigrants. Let's be real here, folks. He's talking about Latinos. I mean, maybe some Black people could be rolled into that plan, but for the most part, that plan is for Latinos. The Biden administration would have no issue making Latinos US citizens because eventually those same Latinos will replace the Black vote.
Well, because, and here comes this thing, sorry to cut you off, but Latinos are considered as white based upon the whole thing with Spain and the whole Christopher Columbus thing. They don't even consider them as what they like to call minority, which is, dumb people, but
some of them, I think some of them are still seen as minority.
But they're not.
Well, really the Black
dumb
ones anyway.
Yeah.
You're Black.
So your Dominicans, your Haitians, your Puerto Ricans, yes.
Yeah.
Because they're of us, but more of your more from those who are El Salvador, more the lighter,
basically the white looking ones.
Yeah. They don't consider them. They're mostly originated from Spain because they don't have the inner breed of us. They have a slight pinch, but it's not us. So those are the ones who get the pass and get called as, white and whatnot.
Right, because they're pretty much European. So
basically, they're basically that's what they are. So yeah,
right, yep. But yeah, so going back to Latinos replacing the black vote, that's pretty much what's going to happen eventually. Now I'm talking about the black vote that the Democrats need to win elections. See, the Democrats have pandered to black people and provided black people with nothing. Yeah, they don't give shit to black people. They give things to everybody else, but not black people. What they give to black people is symbolic gestures. See, everyone else either gets a bill specifically for their protection and or they get money for their businesses. Asians. So there's even some talk in the Matrix about $6.4 billion to help out Afghan refugees and get them into the US. Now, I got a question for the people out there listening. This could be a real question or even a rhetorical question, but how many of them do you think, and I'm talking about the Afghan refugees, how many of them do you think will identify with being black? Oh, don't worry, I'll wait. I have all the time in the world. I will wait for that answer. But in all seriousness, though, what has been happening to Haitian immigrants is not surprising. Now, while the white supremacists on the right might be hostile towards immigration because they're afraid of white people becoming a racial minority, the white supremacists on the left are okay with immigration for the simple fact that immigrants, the white passing ones, will eventually replace black people altogether. So what this all boils down to for me is the fact that we live in a system of white supremacy. I know I'm repeating myself, but I was always taught that repetition is for safety. So when I repeat myself, that's for safety. For all out there who catch my drift. I'm talking about a system that doesn't give a damn about black people from America, doesn't give a damn about black people from Africa, and doesn't give a damn about black people from the Caribbean, and doesn't give a damn about black people anywhere else on the globe. Now, the divisiveness amongst the African diaspora, for real, is really pointless. Because when it's all said and done, the system finds ways to abuse all black people. The black people who migrated to the US and been upwardly mobile, as they would say, were able to do that because they've shown that they're not here to fight white supremacy. That's cool and all, but see, the system doesn't just smack around descendants of American slaves. It smacks around Africans from other countries too. See, coming to America and thinking you're somehow a different black person or a unique black person who somehow escaped blackness is a fucking joke. It's a joke. I'm gonna just say it straight out. It's a joke. Really, what you're doing is you're playing games with yourself if you think that way. I mean, you could be a good pet Negro and put on your tap dance shoes if you want, but how long do you think that will last before the system shows you its true colors? Once again, what has been happening with Haitian immigrants should be no surprise. Being whipped at the border is no anomaly. I mean, that's standard OP. If black immigrants aren't being whipped at the border, literally, then let's look at the millions of black people who are mass incarcerated and being whipped figuratively. We all know that there are black immigrants within the prison system as well. I'm gonna just say in closing, I wish people would stop playing games with themselves. I really wish people would stop playing these mind games with themselves. We all know why things are happening the way they are. We live in a global system of white supremacy. Haitian immigrants aren't just being mistreated here in the US, but also down there in Mexico. The Mexican government doesn't give a damn about Haitian immigrants either. And the link will be in the description because there is an article, there's actually quite a few articles speaking on that. So that will be in the description as well. But yeah, the Mexican government, they don't give a damn about Haitian immigrants. Why do I bring that up? Well, let's be real. Since white supremacy is global, other countries have white supremacist practices also. Being African anywhere on this globe is a strike against Black people, because at the very core, non-Black people are afraid of Black people. They know how powerful the African is. And when it's all said and done, they're afraid of genetic annihilation. That's what all this is at its core. So I'm gonna just end it off on that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for sharing. Definitely a tough topic. I'm glad we addressed that one, fellas. And I hope for our listeners out there, you understand that, again, we are definitely never going to shy away from the difficult topics. And this one obviously was one that meant a lot for us to speak on. So thanks for listening in.